Cast members of Pimp My Ride and where they are now. The popular MTV show Pimp My Ride was a catalyst of a California company that is little known called West Coast Customs. It is now a worldwide company due to the show. The premise was to take an ordinary-looking car, often beat down, and then turn it into something else. This appealed to a vast audience, and the show was widely popular on MTV. It helped Xzibit move away from what he was known for, hip-hop, into a mainstream role on TV as a host. During its heyday, Pimp My Ride had an extended viewership, and although this is long gone, it still holds a very special place in the hearts of its fans. So, we decided to catch up with the show's hosts and find out what they are doing now and what happened after the show was canceled. Xzibit. While the contestants did not get to spend much time with him, he was the host of the show, and when they did, they said he was chill and easygoing. Plus, he was fun to be around. He would take frequent smoke breaks, and we are not talking about tobacco. He had taken this hosting gig once his rap career had started to stagnate, and his massive popularity with the MTV viewers had suddenly jettisoned him back into the forefront of pop culture. Everyone who worked with him on the series has talked about how much pleasure he was to work with behind the scenes. However, Pimp My Ride wasn't exactly a bed of roses for him, and he has talked about how he felt mistreated and unappreciated by MTV. He said that he was never once cut into the show's profits, and things got worse for him after the show ended. He tried to parlay his success on television through acting, but only a year after the end of the series, his son passed on, making it hard for him to put all of his heart into his work. Even worse, his 2008 income was reportedly around $67,000, compared to what he would earn on the show, which was $500,000 a year. He then tried and failed to file for bankruptcy twice, and by the end of 2010, he was in debt of almost $1 million in delinquent taxes. He then tried putting his life back together in the following years by creating his own cannabis company, Brass Knuckles, co-founded with Dr. Dre. It did not work out, and the company ended up getting hit by 2 significant lawsuits and eventually dissolved. This may have seemed to be the end of the former Mr. Z, but his story does not end there. It has a happy ending. Xzibit managed to rebound, and in 2012 he returned to the rap game. He had a hugely successful album, Napalm, which got him back on tour and landed him a recurring role on Empire. This was in 2016. In 2018, he finished paying off his back taxes, and he started yet another cannabis company, this time more successfully. He also did a Russian beer commercial that was pretty good, and this is how he was eventually able to get through his troubles. After this pandemic, he announced that he would be going back on the road with the Heart of Hip Hop tour featuring Fat Joe and E40. As for Pimp My Ride and whether or not he would ever come back to it, well, for now the jury is out and we don't know the verdict. Mad Mike Martin. He was one of the most notable fabricators on the show. He grew up in Compton and had a taste for California style and lowriders. He was a lead fabricator at West Coast Customs and often got into shouting matches with Ryan, the founder. After the end of Pimp My Ride, Mike was able to keep himself busy with many different projects. Additionally, he stayed in employment at the West Coast Customs. He continues to cultivate personality in the automotive world. His design sense is keen, which is something that most people look for when creating their custom vehicle, and his hands-on sense of personalization has helped build some of the most memorable rides on TV. He left the company in 2006 and started working at Gaplin Autosports. This is a well-known company in the world of customer vehicles, and it is a well-regarded brand. He is the lead supervisor, and he has been able to churn out some pretty unique cars. His taste is still toward the muscle cars he grew up with, although he still does some modern customizations. Ryan Friedlinghaus. He is well known for his role in Pimp My Ride's production, and the show would not have been possible without his expertise. He started West Coast Customs, a company founded with a $5,000 loan from his grandfather, which ended up gaining all kinds of stardom. Most people have come to Friedlinghaus to have their custom cars worked on, and there is no relationship between West Coast choppers and West Coast customers. The two companies are, however, often compared as they are from the same era of television. He did have some legal troubles just like Xzibit, and it was revealed that he owed $150,000 to the city of California. He was also messing up on taxable deductions and his workers' wages. It is not uncommon for a new business owner to run into some trouble, especially since he founded the garage in the 90s. However, his company and fines have continued ticking, and the West Coast Customs Company is still the premier name that one thinks of when they are thinking about customer cars. This is a well-known brand. After Pimp My Ride, everyone knew who he was, and instead of letting fame get to his head, he decided to build a new shop at the heart of Burbank, where he grew up. The most impressive and exciting thing about him is that he started from nothing, and West Coast Customers is truly a success story in every sense of the word. It started from nowhere and became one of the most well-known companies in the custom car world. Quinton Q. Dodson. Almost all the cast members from Pimp My Ride were able to find success of some sort after the completion of the show, but Dodson was not able to. His life in the business world has not been successful, and after all the fame that came with the show, he tried to create a couple of companies, including a transportation company that would rival the custom car shop that he called Coast to Coast Customs, in vain. None of his other businesses were successful, and he is still trying to build on his past fame today. Starting a new business with Ryan was one of the best decisions he could have ever made, but the automotive world has not been kind to him. The customer automotive business was giving him fits of rage, and he decided to branch out and do other things. He thought that transportation would be a better option and founded Road Rage Transportation, but this did not last very long, as the transportation business can be tricky. Jason Ewing. Ewing was an underrated member of the show, Pimp My Ride, and while he was not the know-it-all that Mad Mike was, he had some skills needed for the audio portion of the restorations. He took his expertise to the next level and started his own audio company specializing in his work. He has since been featured several times on many car shows, such as SEMA. He is no longer a part of the West Coast Customs team, and he has used his notoriety to boost his career tremendously. As an expert in the automotive audio field, he has created some of the unique sets of wheels on the road. Touche. He is one of the well-recognized members of the original West Coast Customs. His art design has an unmatched street presence, and his graffiti style was a big hit with the show's fans. After the show ended, he decided to take his work on the road and appeared in many different art galleries. He was also tapped for his artistic skills around the Los Angeles area and designed several murals. Having such a robust set of creative abilities is excellent for both automotive and artwork in general. He is one of the cast members who has been able to do very well for himself. Aaron Fanning. Aaron Fanning is a well-known painter and body specialist from Pimp My Ride. His work was highly featured on the show, and he has a keen eye for color. He is one of the most respected auto body paint specialists in the industry. After the end of Pimp My Ride, he stayed with West Coast Customs as a staff member. His keen eye for color made way for him to design cars memorably. The skill it takes to paint and do bodywork on a custom car is not very simple, and he is one of the most knowledgeable people in this area. If you ever watched an episode of Pimp My Ride, you will know what we are saying. He is undoubtedly doing well even after the show. Any news on Pimp My Ride renewal? For the fans of this show, we do not have any word yet that the show will be renewed, but Xzibit said that he would be down to starring in a reboot of the show. MTV has not had a hit show quite like this one in a while. Having another shot at Pimp My Ride would not be such a bad idea. A modern version of the show could fix the many flaws that were there in the original series.